confirmation for the legitimacy of the Book of Mormon lies hidden in plain sight within the biblical and historical record. Let's briefly explore this pivotal and fascinating chapter in time just before the destruction of the First Temple of Jerusalem, the Babylonian captivity, and the prophesied scattering of Israel in the 6th century before Christ. The twilight of King Josiah's reign marked the final days of the first fragile unity the northern and southern kingdoms of Israel had enjoyed since the extravagant days of King Solomon. For a fleeting moment, a spark of restoration flickered in Jerusalem. Under Josiah's rule, a long-desired vision of reconciliation between Ephraim and Judah seemed, at last, within reach. King Josiah's marriages reflected this merger. His wife Zebidah, daughter of Pedaiah of Ramah in Benjamin, embodied an alliance with the northern house of Joseph, while his wife Hamutal of Libnah descended from the priestly line of Aaron in Judah. Through these unions, a powerful coalition between the north and south was established once more in the royal line of David. But when Josiah fell at Megiddo, the alliances that had once symbolized unity between competing kingdoms degraded into factional strife. The balance between north and south, those loyal to Egypt and those loyal to Babylon, was obliterated beneath the weight of centuries of pride, betrayal, and political folly. After deposing Shallum, the son of Hamutal, Pharaoh Necho II appointed another of Josiah's sons, Eliakim, as king over Jerusalem, renaming him Jehoiakim. This king, born of Zebidah, was related by birthright to Egypt and naturally inclined toward Egyptian influence. To maintain Egyptian favor, however, Jehoiakim paid heavy tribute to Pharaoh, eventually draining Judah's treasury and burdening the people with oppressive taxes. When Egypt later submitted to Babylon, Jehoiakim shifted his allegiance, swearing loyalty to Nebuchadnezzar II. This switch procured relative peace in Jerusalem, but the peace did not last. Eventually, Jehoiakim ceased ability to pay tribute to Babylon, and Nebuchadnezzar sent mercenaries to besiege Jerusalem, kill the king, and place his son Jeconiah upon the throne in his stead. Only 3 months later, the armies of Babylon again swept through Jerusalem, this time seizing King Jeconiah, his mother, his nobles, and the treasures of the temple, and carrying them all captive to Mesopotamia. Nebuchadnezzar then installed Jeconiah's uncle, Mattaniah, as puppet ruler, renaming him Zedekiah. At the commencement of the first year of his reign, Zedekiah swore a pledge of fealty to Babylon. Yet within the city, competing voices vied for dominance. Some prophets proclaimed that Jeconiah would soon return from captivity with Egyptian aid, declaring that God would break the yoke of Babylon. Others, such as Jeremiah, warned that submission to Babylon was ordained by God and that rebellion would lead to destruction. It was in this atmosphere of fear, prophecy, siege, and civil unrest that the patriarch, Lehi, also received his vision. Jeconiah's captivity and Zedekiah's public submission to Babylon marked a crucial turning point in the royal climate of Jerusalem. Those who were loyal to Egypt were at an undeniable disadvantage. 1 Nephi 1:1-4 and Alma 10:3 reveal Lehi's affiliation with Egypt and the house of Joseph. Lehi promptly fled into the wilderness with his family, preserving along with them the sacred relics belonging to his people, the records of genealogy for the house of Joseph, and the breastplate bearing the Urim and the Thummim. While Lehi's departure, as presented in the Book of Mormon, does record the safeguarding of 3 special families and their generations, it also marks the preservation of something far greater, an ancient and important link in the chain of hereditary legitimacy thought missing for more than 2,000 years. When the Babylonian exiles later returned to Jerusalem, Scripture records that some could not produce their ancestry. The Jewish historian Joesphus reveals that among this number were priests, nobles, and their families, all claiming descent from the house of Joseph, but they were rejected as foreigners under Nehemiah's governorship. Many of these dispossessed families migrated to Samaria under Sanballat the Horonite. There, Sanballat was joined by others who had been stripped of ancestral titles, but whose lineage likewise traced back to the northern tribes. Thus, the ancient fracture between Judah and Ephraim reemerged in a new form.
each faction claiming the covenant, yet divided from each other by contrasting prejudices regarding racial and priestly legitimacy. Despite all odds, the record of the house of Joseph endured unscathed, carried across the seas to a land of promise. The succession crisis that followed Josiah's death had become the very catalyst for the fulfillment of prophecy and the scattering of Israel among the nations. Yet within that scattering lie hidden the seeds of restoration and the promise of ingathering. The exodus of Lehi and the families who traveled with him foreshadowed an opportunity for reunion, a reconciliation of an ancient breach between brothers, north and south, east and west, indeed the entire world. Once again, the stick of Ephraim and the stick of Judah would become one in the hand of the Lord.